Hello and welcome to the North Bank podcast. I'm your host Holly, and I better get my introductions in quickly before Steph starts getting upset. I'm joined by Stef and Chris. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Evening.
Good evening.
Steph, remind me, what else have I got to say at the start? I can't remember.
You've got to tell all our listeners around the world that they can listen to us wherever they get their pods, and they can even watch us on YouTube at North Bank Pod. Honestly.
And it's at this point I'll probably put in post like a little thing along the bottom, you're probably looking at it right now, in fact. It's like a little thing that says YouTube, blah, blah, blah.
That's how the magic works.
Yeah. And then it goes just like that. There you go.
Well, if you haven't already worked out, it's a slow Arsenal week. We haven't recorded for a few days. We've had a couple of days off. We're back now, and there's still no Arsenal, so we're going to fill this with God knows what. We'll look at the Arsenal players in action for their countries over the last night and tonight, I guess. And there's a few games coming up over the next few days. What we will do, though, is take a more detailed look into our rivals, i.e. Liverpool and Man City. Sorry to Bournemouth and Crystal Palace and what's that other club that are in the top 5 or 6? Is it? I can't remember. They're like really
Chelsea?
small. Is it not? No, it's not Chelsea. It's a small club. They wear white. I think they wear white. They
Leeds.
had big. No, it's not Leeds. It's anyway. The name will come to me. Anyway, we're not going to acknowledge those guys as challengers, but Liverpool and Man City. I've got some stats, obviously.
Yay.
Some stats. You're going to talk about Arsenal players in action for their countries, Steph. So I'll segue you into that, if that's a verb. Saka has now scored more goals for England, 13, than any other Arsenal player in history, beating
The last one being Cliff
Bastin with 12.
Unreal.
Isn't it? Does feel a bit weird.
Yeah.
Who would you have imagined might have scored the goals then? We had Tony Woodcock, Paul Mariner.
I remember Malcolm McDonald. I mean, vaguely remember him scoring 5 goals.
Was he?
No, he wasn't. But I think it was around that time, 75, and he put 5 past Cyprus. I obviously remember that because it was Cyprus. And I thought, well, surely he's got a chance of beating that record. But Righty, Walcott, no. Not even close.
Ian Wright, but he didn't play. He didn't play as many times for England as he absolutely should have done.
I think he's about 30 caps-ish, something like that. But he was playing at a time where there was a lot of English strikers around. Shearer, Sheringham, Fowler, Ferdinand. The competition for those striker places was pretty immense. And he scored. I think he scored about 9 or 10 goals.
9, I think it was. Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad, but for him and the player he was and the quality he had, it should have been. He just wasn't. His
timing,
face,
isn't it?
Yeah, his face didn't fit for that particular era with the competition that he had, perhaps. But anyway, Saka has now got 13, and he is our highest scorer for England men's. So woohoo! So how do the rest get on, Steph? Any of them break a leg or a hammy or anything like that?
No injury news to report, which is good. So far, it's a relatively clean bill of health, unless as we record on Friday evening, something else has cropped up. For England, they all featured in some respects. Rice was captaining England and played at the centre of midfield, and it feels like in terms of the midfield, it will pretty much always be Rice and another that goes along with that. Eza on the bench and Lewis Skelly as well. So, but yeah, Saka was excellent. They played Wales. They blew Wales away really in the first half. Too intense, too dominant on set pieces in particular. So, and Saka's goal was a Saka goal. A Saka goal, cut inside. It's that Robin move. You cut inside and then ping it into the top corner. It was a hell of a strike.
And he didn't play the full game though, did he? Him and Rice were hooks quite early.
Taken off after about 70 minutes, I think. But like I say, it was a little bit of damage limitation from Wales after that, so the intensity wasn't wasn't kept up for a huge amount of time.
Because Ollie Watkins scored, but he got injured with the. Did he collide with the post?
He did collide with the post, and when it first happened, it was one where you sort of took a sharp intake of breath. But hopefully he's okay.
Who scored? Was it Morgan Rogers scored?
Rogers, yes. Rogers is in that phase where we talked in the last international break about some Arsenal players looking a little bit freer and fluid for their country, because Rogers perhaps isn't having the best season at club level, but nor is his club particularly, although they've won the last few games. But he was everywhere. He was very busy and very impressive.
There were 3 Villa players in the team, weren't there? Conser, Watkins and Rogers.
Yes, there was.
So
yeah. They're all good. They all played well. So, yeah.
And Rice and Saka will definitely start there, because that was a friendly, but it's a qualifier coming up on, is it Tuesday?
Latvia. If I remember right.
So they'll definitely play in that one.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear the interview afterwards when Rice was talking about his role in the England team and how it mirrors what he's been doing at Arsenal? It was kind of revealing. He was saying how he was pushing on more box to box, basically, and that he had more freedom, no doubt due to...
Zubimendi's afforded him that, hasn't he?
Yeah. So that was just nice to hear, that rather than inane questions and answers, reeled out as you normally get, it was actually something a bit more insightful that football people can enjoy.
Did you hear what Tuchel said? Tommy Tickles, as we call him.
About Saka?
No, not about Saka. About the crowd.
Oh, they're too quiet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good on you,
I love the fact he doesn't care what they
really
think of
doesn't,
him.
does he?
I think it's brilliant.
He doesn't, although at the same time, I don't know what he wants, because it was it was a friendly against Wales and the anthems were very passionate, but England then blitz into a 3-goal lead. It was never going to stay that spicy, was it? Except, just total-wise, look, it's a friendly in London on a Thursday night, and you've got 80,000 people there. That's not bad going, considering how expensive football is to go to nowadays as well. So,
Well, someone made the point that if you want a raucous atmosphere, don't play those games at Wembley. Go around the country.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a fair point.
Mm.
But my reason for bringing it up is I just loved it. I just think it's brilliant. He does not care. So nice. And, he can do it from a position of strength. England have started playing well now, and they're getting the results. And so he's like, come on, I'm doing my bit. Where's you lot? You were giving me stick when I wasn't doing my bit, according to you. Now, come on. I love it.
He's here for a good time, not a long time.
Exactly, and that's very much his mantra, isn't it? He's not stuck around anywhere for that long. But good, and he's also... How did Harry Kane play?
He didn't.
Did he play? He's injured.
He got a knock for Bayern.
Right, because I'm curious about...
he was there and in the camp, because he was on the bench watching from the sideline.
I'm curious about a manager playing players in their right position and, for the benefit of the team, not worrying. Like Jude Bellingham, he didn't call Jude Bellingham up, even though he had returned and has played for Real Madrid since his injury, but didn't call him up.
No Foden.
Yeah, so that's good. Potentially, because we complained for years about, why is he playing? He just, it doesn't matter what his form for club is like. I know Harry Kane is like on a ridiculous streak for Bayern Munich. Is he like the quickest player in their history to get to is he on 100 goals already?
Oh yeah,
or something. I mean, it's mental, his goal scoring stats. So fair play. Anyway, how about the other Arsenal players? Anything to report?
Nothing majorly stand out. Raya will probably be on the bench because he's not first choice for Spain tomorrow against Georgia. And the one game that I sort of did look at was Brazil, because Big Gabby and Little Gabby went abroad for that. They played a friendly against South Korea, won 5-0. Martinelli was an unused substitute, and Big Gabby played from the start, kept a clean sheet. Yeah.
Interesting on Martinelli, he won the Arsenal's Player of the Month vote. I assume for September. That's interesting.
That's a turnaround, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Appearances, super sub, finishers, sure.
The only thing that would have been more surprising if Trossard had won it. Anyway.
Are you implying that it might have been perhaps a sympathy vote?
No, I'm not. I'm not actually. So, I'm not. No. I thought fair play. I like Martinelli. I really like him. I've never deviated from that. I love him more as a motivated sub.
Yeah.
And then if he go on.
Sorry, just
No.
going on what you said, Chris, about Declan Rice being interviewed and giving something that actually sort of raised your eyebrows and was quite interesting. Martinelli did something similar on international duty. I think it was on international duty, where he was talking about his role, and he says, football is football, and if you're at big clubs like Arsenal, or you play for a national team like Brazil, there will be times when you have to wait for your chance because the likes of Vinicius Junior or Eza or whoever it is coming in and doing the business. But he just gave off the impression as if to say, I'm there and I'm ready.
I'm up for it, yeah. That's what you want. That's what you want.
Accepted his place, but at the same time will push.
And he says that, and he's actually demonstrated that as well. Like he's backed that up. It's great because when he was starting every game, we were all calling him for him to be removed from the starting 11 out of the firing line, and he was, and it's really kind of worked for him. Great, long may it continue. It's the benefits of having a strong squad.
Yeah,
even though most of them are breaking. But anyway,
well, you say that Saliba is currently playing for France against Azerbaijan. Timber played in a 1-0 win for the Netherlands. Sorry, 4-0 win for the Netherlands at centre-back for the Netherlands.
Oh, yeah.
As I've got it down here. So
he played the full game. I could do with Timber having a rest now.
Did he play the full game? That I don't know. I haven't got it to hand.
I mean, Ben White hasn't gone, so Ben White's obviously on a break.
Yeah.
So he can jump in. Who we got? Fulham away on Saturday.
Yeah.
Timber will play if he's fit, obviously. Anything else on the international front?
No, I don't think so. It's all very international. I can't get excited about it. Even the England match last night was like,
I think fair play. I know we haven't exclusively spoken about international football, but we've got to about 11, 12 minutes and we're still talking about international football. I think that's impressive. I think
really impressive.
We deserve medals for that. If everyone's still awake, that is, obviously. So let's shift our focus to club football, back to club football and Arsenal in particular. And before we look at Liverpool and Man City and their run of the game so far and their next 6 games, let me ask you guys a couple of questions. Who's been your Arsenal player of the season so far? Chris?
I thought about this and I was going to go with an outfield player, but I'm going to say David Raya.
Why?
Well, do I have to say why? Isn't it obvious?
I don't know, because you could... Okay, well, why not Gabriel in front of him? It's like he has made some good saves. He has got 7 clean sheets in his 10 games. But how much of that is down to him? I mean, we laughed about him, the memes going around of him just sitting on a beach deck chair reading a newspaper for the last couple of games. We played West Ham and Olympiaakos. We didn't have much to do. Well, he did actually make a save against Olympiaakos. But anyway, so why David Raya?
Just ridiculously consistent. And the odd standout save. But it's just that build from the back of confidence that, the Gabriels and Salibas, even though they're brilliant, to know that he's behind them as well, it oozes confidence, throughout the team from him, radiates. So, just a shout out to him because he's, it's one of those where, we often talk about players being overlooked because, like Saka, we've gotten used to this ridiculously consistent level. And I think there's a bit of that about David Raya as well.
It's building gradually with him, isn't it? Because he had an interesting start when he came in when nobody wanted him. Because everybody loved Ramsdale, understandably, at the time. And since then, it's like David Seaman was quite similar. There was nothing kind of overtly spectacular about David Seaman, but he was just like a ridiculously high-level goalkeeper. Like, he'd have nothing to do for 89 minutes, but when called upon, pull off a great save, concentration level. That's what, who said. Oh, Ramsdale. That's what Ramsdale said in an interview. He was too honest.
Yep.
He struggles to maintain that concentration for that period, that length of time.
He
so it
needs
is a skill in itself.
To have a banter with the crowd to keep him on his toes, kind of thing. And I remember we were having this discussion whenever it was 2 years ago, and I said I prefer a David Seaman, boring, steady keeper, because that for me suggests a calmness and a confidence that a keeper who's more kind of needs to turn to the crowd and give it back and all that. I don't need that from a goalkeeper.
Let me ask you this then. I think David Raya has obviously exceeded the levels of Chesney and Fabianski and Martinez and all those kind of goalkeepers. Has he reached yet for you the level of Jens Lehmann, say? Mad Jens. I don't have much Arsenal, but I have a Mad Jens t-shirt. Because he was a particularly favourite. I mean, he was great. Has he reached that level? Has he reached the David Seaman level? Is he close to it? Do you think he ever will reach that level?
I think it's slightly unfair.
Is it necessary that we win something with him as our goalkeeper?
That's what I was just going to say, is that once he's won a few pots, then he's in that category in terms of what he's ultimately achieved. But even Lehmann used to give me the heebie-jeebies, the shithousery.
Well, Champions League final.
Right. Rush of blood. But you don't see that rush of blood with a Seaman or hopefully a Raya. So I think he's yet to achieve that, that lofty kind of position of saying, I've actually...
When we do the league and Champions League double this season, that's got to elevate him.
Surely
to that echelon.
Surely it will.
It will, yes. Good. Yeah. That's it. You got to manifest it, Chris.
I am. I'm feeling it. I'm putting out the vibes.
So I completely agree that David Raya is. I think he's a keeper to very much be able to hold his own in that company. We just need a couple of winners' medals around his neck.
Yeah, ditto the rest of the team.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, Steph, who's been your Arsenal player of the season so far?
Yeah, I think in terms of all round consistency, I've got to go with Jurrien Timber. I think because he's still really solid defensively, as we know he can be. But it has added a bit more of a dimension going forward as well. Just been incredibly consistent. He's part of that defence that have kept so many clean sheets. I mean, Raya would be up there as well for me as well. And also I think it plays into the idea that the attack is yet to fully click. And I say that having won a game 5-0 at home and another one 3-0.
And also only having Man City having scored more goals than us by one in the league.
Well, exactly.
It's funny, isn't it?
But yeah, the defence certainly should take some credit from that. So yeah, Jurrien Timber for me.
That's interesting because I forgot to think about that question for myself. So just whilst you guys were talking, I was thinking, well, who would be mine? And my kind of just automatically gravitated towards Declan Rice. I just think he's so critical for how we work in the defensive half and also in the offensive half as well. His set piece deliveries, they are relentless. They must. I mean, we're scoring some late goals, and I wonder it's mental fatigue. The goal at Newcastle as well. I don't know who put the ball across. Was it Ødegaard who took that corner, didn't he? But Rice took the first corner, which we scored the equaliser from, the short corner. So I just think him, and I think he's that. You talked about that box to box, Chris, for England, and that's what we're seeing more of him now. That Patrick Vieira. I mean, we haven't had a Patrick Vieira since Patrick Vieira, and I know their style is quite different. I mean, Declan Rice looks knackered from minute 5, which is brilliant because he's got the most high octane engine. He's the Duracell midfielder. But what I noticed none of us have done, we didn't go to any of the new players, which nicely brings me on to my follow-up question. And I'm asking you specifically then, which of these signings do you think is most important for Arsenal? Eza, Gyökeres, Zubimendi? Chris?
Zubi, for me.
Based on what you've seen so far, or what you think might happen? Now, because there's two ways of looking at it. Because Gyökeres hasn't hit the ground running necessarily, but he's got 3 goals and he has created space for others. He might be one of the reasons we have scored the goals that we've got. But so, Zubimendi then.
Yeah, and I'm sort of rewinding slightly in that, who has been the most important signing, even before they'd played, I would say Zubimendi still, because I think that was the key position to replace and to dovetail with Declan Rice. And the fact that he's come in, parachuted into the team and hit the ground running, if you can do that, if you can parachute in and then run, I don't know.
Are you mixing metaphors or something like that?
Yeah, the imagery is like slightly confusing. But yeah, he has hit the ground running in such a spectacular way. He looks so comfortable. And I just can't imagine us, our sort of first 11, if you like, without him there at the heart. Whereas I could replace a Gyökeres, with all due respect to him, with a Havertz and see a different game there. There isn't really a...
But we had Havertz last season and the last season before that, and we were absolutely screaming for a number 9.
Yeah.
So that's not. So what? I'm disagreeing with what you just said. Then
you're disagreeing that
just that just that last bit about Gyökeres. Like, with all due respect to Gyökeres, I'd be happy with a Havertz in there. Well, we weren't. We had a Havertz in there, and we weren't happy.
Do you think Gyökeres is as vital now, looking at it, as Zubimendi?
I'm saying he could. I'm definitely. I'm not necessarily saying that, but I'm definitely saying he could be.
Oh,
this season. This season.
Get the crystal ball out, and I'll tell you. At the moment, for me, Zubi is the most key of the new signings.
Because we could have Norgard play his role.
Yeah.
Brentford captain.
I know. I mean, that's something we could come on to, but yeah, that's it's going to be hard for him to oust Zubimendi for the big game.
And Ødegaard getting injured, we have got Eze. I'm making the case for Eze now as well. We've got a replacement for Ødegaard. I know we've got 3 replacements for Ødegaard, really. We've got Ranieri, we've got Marino, we've got Eze. But Eze is the one that you would pick for that creativity. That could be really important, especially with the rate at which poor old Ødegaard's picking up injuries.
Absolutely. But for me, he's seen more as the cherry on the cake, and the signing that we all wanted emotionally as well as anything else. And not to denigrate him at all as a fantastic player, but again, I come back to Zubi as being pivotal.
Steph?
I absolutely agree. Zubimendi, I've been really impressed with how he's adapted to the Premier League, because there's some interesting stories going round about other clubs needing to bed in players because it's a difficult league to come to, where he's looked to the manor born. And I think when you look at the personnel he's replaced, we lost Thomas Partey. We got rid of Thomas Partey after one of his better seasons for us, where he was really impactful, and even to some extent Jorginho, who was a reliable Premier League sort of servant. And yes, we've got Norgard, but I think the clear distinction and levels, the calmness under pressure, the distribution of the ball, and a couple of goals thrown in for good measure mean that Zubimendi has really caught the eye in terms of what he does. And I think, look, if you're trying to pick your best 11 or your best players, I think Zubimendi's going to be in the conversation for both. I think Gyökeres, yes, we were crying out for a number 9, but we were looking for variety in our play in certain games. And he helped us sweep aside Leeds at home, Newcastle at home, but maybe having a Havertz for a game against Liverpool or Man City might have been good to have the options to use both in the games. Eze is a class player, but they would still. I think there'd still be slight question marks about when everyone is fit and all things are equal, that he steps into some of those roles. But the thing for me, I feel bad saying anything remotely negative about any of them, because the point was to go for squad depth, and they've shown that we've got that depth now and we've got that cover. I think we've had to call upon that cover more in that Eze wide left, left 8 kind of role, whereas Zubimendi and Rice just play. They just should start. It's just from my point of view. So yeah, Zubimendi's been brilliant.
All three of them. Would you put all three of them? Everybody's fit in our starting 11.
Don't know. Probably not.
Really? Who wouldn't you? I would.
It would, but then here's the thing. But then, again, it's context. Who are we playing?
No, it doesn't matter.
Are we at home?
Doesn't matter. I'm playing Eze on the left against anybody. If everybody's fit, those three players start for me, and then the bench is ridiculous.
Is there not a scenario where you prefer Havertz, as Steph was saying?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
No. I think Havertz is a brilliant squad player, and I'd have no issue with him starting a game. Say we've still got to go to Man City. If he starts the game at Man City, I've got no problem with that.
But you'd rather start Gyökeres.
I've had 2 years of Havertz starting games and or his replacement starting games. No, I hope that Gyökeres is the answer to that question at the end of the season, because
so do I.
Amen to that.
Then we've so the question was, which of these signings do you think is the most important for Arsenal? So if you were both saying that you want to have Gyökeres as the answer to that question at the end of the season, doesn't that suggest that he's the most important of those three?
Can I throw a question back at you?
Uh-oh.
You now have to imagine.
No.
You have to imagine one of those three signings didn't happen. Okay. Which one would you be most worried about had it not happened?
Okay.
For me, that's Zubimendi.
No, see, that isn't, because, yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because as we needed that creativity. It was the attacking third was the issue for me. And so Eze and Gyökeres scratched that itch, whereas Zubimendi didn't scratch that itch. Now, I know the way he plays does release Rice, and it does have a knock-on impact ahead, but if I'm just looking at that before a minute's been played, don't get me wrong, I've circled Zubimendi as well. I'm playing devil's advocate with you two, but I agree. I think right now Zubimendi is, there's a reason Liverpool and Real Madrid really wanted him, and we can see that. We've seen that from the first minute he stepped on the pitch.
Yeah,
like he's ridiculously, he's a world-class player in his position. I can see now why Spain's level didn't drop when Rodri came off and Zubimendi came in. You know, we were, us mere mortals had no idea what we were witnessing. Really, Zubimendi is a fantastic player. However, that question that you asked me, Steph, I would still say Zubimendi would be the one that of those three at the start of the before the season started. If I had to drop one of those three from us having signed, it would have been him, because I think Gyökeres and Eze would have totally transformed our attacking threat and prowess and capabilities. And we've got Madueke in there as well, but
yeah.
So, but that's not to say I still think Zubimendi has been brilliant, and he'd be, if not Rice, he'd be my player of the season so far for Arsenal. So I'm on the same page, but I just think the way the question was couched was the most important player for Arsenal, and we were screaming for a number 9. I don't recall us screaming for a number 6 for the last 2 seasons, but we were definitely screaming for a number 9. And again, it's like, you can't make a choice really. We've got them all. I love all my children equally, that kind of I love all my new signings equally.
What do you think constitutes a successful haul for Gyökeres then? If he is that important, he is that vital, what do you
genuinely, even now, 20 Premier League goals, I think that would be
2 seasons
brilliant.
ago, I'm not sure what the stats are, but I don't think anyone scored more than 20 in the league, did they?
Well, last season they didn't.
2 years ago, when we scored 90 odd or whatever, we broke.
I think we had
records.
5. We certainly had 5 players who got double figures.
Well, my point is that it was like our success wasn't down to an out-and-out striker; it was down to scoring by committee. I'm not suggesting,
and we've added to that.
we've added to it. We've augmented the attack, which is brilliant. I'm just curious to know what people's expectations are, because he's not the marquee striker signing, is he? Isak would have been the marquee striker signing. We've spent half as much on someone who's knocking on, never played in the Prem before, and the expectation on him, I feel, is almost unfairly large.
So I'd say 20 goals, and I think that's a brilliant first season for him.
I'd be amazed if he scored 20 in the league. I think that would be amazing. But it may be that he scores 15, but it still contributes massively to our success, because we're weighing in with Saka scoring 12 and Ødegaard.
Because they've got more space. Because they've got more space as well. Because of how he occupies the two central defenders, and his physicality is improving. I know, like even in the game against West Ham, I was bemoaning how quickly he went to ground in the first half, but then in the second half he was a beast. So I don't know. In the first half, he's way down the other end of the pitch to where I'm watching him from. So maybe that played a part in it as well. But look, he's got 3 goals. He's hit the woodwork twice. I think he's on course for. He's just got to get more than Sesko.
Yeah.
Can't be having that unless we win the league. Then I don't care how much Sesko gets. But. Okay. Good that we've got so many. Compare this to last season when, if I'd asked you that question last season, what players would we have been talking about new signings wise? Marino? Who else did we sign?
Raheem Sterling.
Sorry,
that was just that's like a bad joke.
Calafiori was the other one.
Bad dream.
Oh, Calafiori, and he's a regular starter at the moment, so oh my god. Anyway, right, so we are sat top of the league after 7 games. 14 goals scored, 3 conceded, just on the 3 conceded. And Orbinho put out something on BlueSky a while ago. I don't know when it is. Date 9th of October, yesterday then. Arsenal are on course to break a few obscure records relating to the fact that they haven't conceded 3 goals in a game for nearly 2 years. A run of 68 games since conceding 3 to Luton in a 4-3 win at Kenilworth Road in December 2003, I think he means 23, is the joint second longest run in Premier League history. So wow. Top is Manchester United. They went 87 games without conceding 3 goals in the league between May 2006 and October 2008. That was quite funny because everyone's talking about we've only conceded 3 goals, 1 from open play, 7 clean sheets in 10 games, and we've been to some pretty difficult grounds as well, and we've hosted Manchester City, like with the cyborg up front. So it's not like we've just played a load of minnows in that run. So that's pretty impressive. Realistically, do you see anybody apart from Liverpool and Man City occupying the top 3 places along with us?
On the basis of this season and what we've seen so far, it's
okay.
Hard to see anything else.
Good, because they're the only 2 I've focused on, so that was the right answer.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And again, I apologise to Bournemouth and Palace and those 2 London clubs that wear white and blue. Those 2 anyway. And that might come back and bite me, but I don't care. Right now, it feels that the top 3 will be Arsenal, Liverpool, City. The order, we don't know, obviously. So I'm going to run through. I'll take Liverpool first because Liverpool is probably one we know. We're probably more acutely aware of Liverpool's results because I know personally I've not been hanging on every minute of Man City games. Maybe I should, and I might start to, but I have been, kind of prowling, pacing, hiding, procrastinating anything just when Liverpool game's on because I need them to drop points. I was getting so fed up with their kind of relentless late winners. So their games so far this season: Bournemouth home 4-2. They scored in the 88th and 94th minutes. Newcastle away, they won 3-2. the 90-10th minute they scored in.
90-10.
90-10th, 12th. Then they hosted us. That was an 83rd minute winner, the worldie from Szoboszlai. Git. Burnley away. This is if you pick your most cruel Liverpool win this season, I think this is the one for me. Burnley away, 95th minute penalty, 1-0. Because I did not. Who expected drop points in that game? And they lulled me in. Everton at home, they went 2-0 up in the first half. They only won the game 2-1. So they've not won a game by more than a goal so far in the league. Then they went to Palace away and Chelsea away, where tables were turned somewhat. They conceded a 97th minute Eddie goal and a 95th minute Estevao goal at Chelsea. So, Chris, how do you rate Liverpool's start to the season? Florian Wirtz 008 now. Isak, Ekitike, very similar profiles. Isak's not match fit. Of course, he's not match fit. He's been on strike for 3 months. Salah on the right, like it seems his form has kind of dropped off a cliff compared to last season. Is it a case of that's it now? That's the norm for him, or is it let's get this new players bedded in, different system with Slot. It's not Klopp's team now for sure. So the old muscle memory rather is not working. So how do you assess Liverpool right now? And then, look ahead a little bit.
Okay. I've thought about this, and now we've had a bit of time off, and they are now in transition, Liverpool. This is their transition season. Last year, that he inherited a squad which was pretty much there. Alexander-Arnold was still there. They were flying. Yes, they had a rub of the green. But we had said there would be Salah wouldn't have another season like that. It's just impossible. The age, everything, it's going to be downhill from here. We hoped anyway. And that seems to be happening. I think a lot of that is to do with the transition, a lot to do with the fact that he hasn't got Alexander-Arnold pinging those diagonal balls over to him. It's just going to take them time to work in their new players, a new system. And I think that's now being reflected in the results, in the way they're playing. It's stodgy. They're not as fluent as they used to be. So it's no huge surprise. It was frustrating watching them limp across the line in those wins. But now no one can say that the table isn't a fair reflection. And like you said, winning games by 1 goal, it's indicative of a team that's just not quite found its stride yet.
Do you worry about them moving forwards?
Yeah.
Do you think they'll click? Or do you think they're too top heavy?
For the same reason I worry about City, that if they get Haaland's banging form now, and look at him, he's got 10 in the league already, I think. If they get Ekitike and Isak playing together, or even Isak on his own, and hits form, then the rest kind of don't need to be as fluent, because all they're doing is channeling it into him in a similar way to City, and winning games that way. And who could argue if it works? So Steph, I do fear them.
Okay, Steph, how do you rate or assess their season so far in the league? Obviously, I think in the Champions League they beat. Was it Atletico Madrid? No, they won their
beat Atletico Madrid at home.
Lost to Galatasaray
with the last minute winner. Right. Yeah. So it's 9-10 games where they League Cup game as well. They lost. They won late on as well. So how do you assess their season so far, and do you fear them still?
Definitely still fear them, just because of the firepower that is potentially still there, obviously. I think it is quite amusing from the sidelines watching a lot of the head loss from their fan base over the last couple of weeks, but I think there has to be a little bit of outcome bias with that. Losing their last 2 games is obviously never a good look, but at the same time, I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. You're right, Chris. There are some changes, and there's mitigation for some of the results and the performances that are there. And no doubt there will be some improvement to that, or a steadying of a leveling of the performances, perhaps. I'm always happy to see them drop points, but that's a sign of respect, because it's them and City that we see as the sort of nearest challengers. The teams that are just below, you feel like they might have a good 11, but if there's an injury or a suspension here and there will be a bit of a drop off. Or the opposite is true of Chelsea, who have a starting 74 and need to somehow work on how those combinations are going to work. So the most settled, with also the highest quality, is Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City. And yes, Liverpool have been riding their luck. Every team needs a little bit of it. But I don't know. You have Isak, you have Ekitike, Salah. I mean, the goals will come. They're bound to.
Or maybe this is who Slot is, as in this is him as a manager. That Chiesa was the only player they brought in the previous summer. So it was Klopp's team.
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal and City fell away quite spectacularly in both cases, so they weren't under pressure at all, really. I'm not diminishing their achievement. They won the league at a canter, but it was Klopp's team. Slot didn't change it. He didn't change, but they've lost Trent. Obviously, I think we mentioned it last time, the loss of Diogo Jota as well. And him and Salah were very close, and that's got to impact when you were seeing someone every day, pretty much every day, and all of a sudden, under those circumstances, that person's no longer there. There's no... That could well be behind Salah's dip in form, because emotionally and mentally he's not.
Yeah, and I also wonder what then, because they've gone on a bit of a spending spree. And they've gone on a spending spree on players who have their own big personality. I can't imagine what it would be like to be one of the new players entering that club that is still grieving. That it must be a stress. They're champions, but there's that loss to deal with. It's as totally understandably, it just is a bit off, and balancing all of those things is a hell of a job.
They're only 1 point behind.
Well, exactly. So it's still a good start to the season.
Yeah.
It's just the way they fell, isn't it? That's why I said the outcome.
It's the fact that they've lost the last two games, but they've only won they've only won games in injury time as well, or by a single goal margin. So they've not. We've by comparison we've won 3 games 5-0, 3-0, 2-0 in the league in the same time. And we haven't played inferior opposition to them. They've had away to Burnley, home to Everton, home to Bournemouth. Oh, they beat Bournemouth 4-2, sorry. They beat Bournemouth 4-2, but the goals on opening day of the season, but the goals were late, 88 and 94. Definitely still worried about them, for sure. But I'm less worried about them now that they've actually shown that they can drop points, because I didn't believe they could.
But even when they were winning, we were watching them and on this podcast saying they can be got at. They can be got at. Look at them. There's holes here and there, and we can exploit them, and so it came to pass.
Well, listen, we can all relax, because you know who they're playing next.
Yeah.
Come on, United.
What?
Yeah.
Get in, come on.
I never thought I'd hear Holly breathe those words.
For a second, Chris, I thought you'd fired up the AI to get the Holly to see.
The Holly bot.
He never would.
Yeah.
No, I'm quite happy for United to beat Liverpool and City.
Keep Amorim around a bit longer.
Well, no, he's there for 3 years or 2 more years anyway.
Well, I wouldn't know about that.
No, it's Jim Reaper said that.
Yeah, but that's
it means nothing. Yeah.
Backing of the board.
Yeah.
And then 5 days later,
the dreaded
out.
Vote of confidence.
He has to say that because it's his reputation. Like, he insisted on Amorim, and he insisted on him mid-season.
He's
Amorim
a
said,
dead
"Can
man
you wait?"
walking.
They're only 6 points behind us.
It's a case of lining up Iriola or whoever it is they're going to bring in.
If United beat
Southgate.
Liverpool, it'll be the first time they've won back-to-back games under Amorim. I don't see it. Look, I'd love to see it. And that guy who's growing his hair,
The United strand.
he'll be thinking, here we go.
He's going to die under the weight of it.
That poor guy got beaten up, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
He got assaulted. The guy
By his own
who's growing
fans.
his hair by his own fans. That because he was benefiting from the publicity of doing this stunt that they took umbrage to. Well, no, and it's kind of funny, even if an Arsenal fan was doing it in the midst of our slump, I'd kind of think fair play to you, mate.
It would be a bit of
laugh.
a joy in a sea of misery, wouldn't it? It would be like a nice distraction. But yeah, anyway. Okay, so let's move on to Man City. Calling Man City like the plucky underdogs is a bit rich, but I have heard people couch them in those terms. Their season so far, they got off to a flyer with a 4-0 win at Molineux. Then they lost consecutive games, still their only defeats. At home to Spurs 2-0, which seems to be an annual occurrence. And then they lost 2-1 at Brighton. I know they were 1-0 up until quite late in that game. I haven't written down the minutes of the goals. They beat United at the City Ground. Not the City Ground anymore, is it? It's the Etihad, isn't that what it's called? Anyway, they beat United 3-0. They drew at us 1-1. Martinelli 93rd minute equaliser. They beat Burnley 5-1 eventually. It wasn't as straightforward as that result makes it sound. And then they beat Brentford 1-0 at Brentford, which is a decent result. But the one thing the thread that runs through all of those games is Haaland. He's like, they're a one-man team. For the amount of money they've spent, they shouldn't be, but they are. And you got to think that if he got an injury, they're in trouble. So, yeah. Chris, can they challenge for the season with Haaland? Yeah, of course they will anyway. Or if you're a City fan, are you worried about the reliance on him?
I would be, absolutely. Until the others, it's Foden. Foden's playing better, but he's not going to weigh in with that many goals, surely. It does seem, as you said, for a team of such wealth and resources, to be so reliant on him. But that's the way they've set their stall out, and they're a different beast now. They're not spreading the goals around. It's very much, he's our main man. And look, while it's working for them, they're not going to be complaining. I just hope, that the form drops off. I won't say I hope he gets injured. I just want to see a drop in form and see how they cope. You can say it, yeah. It will be interesting to see if he drops off in form a bit, where the goals come from.
Steph, what's your take on Man City so far?
They're really starting to worry me because I've watched a couple of games of theirs and Foden and Haaland linking up is looking more and more potent, and they're looking as...
Rodri's back, isn't he?
Yes, but he went off injured.
No, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure he will be fine. They're looking that little bit more solid defensively. Yeah, I mean they're there or thereabouts, aren't they?
Let's look at their next 6 games. I'll go back and do Liverpool's. I forgot to map out Liverpool's next 6 games, but Man City's next 6 games are, and give me a consensus in terms of win, lose or draw. Everton at home.
Win.
Yeah. Villa away.
Win.
They're getting better, Villa, but...
Yeah.
Draw.
Okay, we'll do a consensus. I'd say win as well, so sorry. I mean, I hope you're right, Chris. Bournemouth at home. It's a win.
Win.
Yeah.
Liverpool at home.
Draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, draw.
Newcastle away. Now, let me just map out. They're playing away at Inter Milan between the Liverpool home and Newcastle away games. So, Newcastle away.
I'd say they'll nick that. Win.
Steph?
You say it's in the middle of... Is it the Champions League games going on around?
Yeah, Champions League. Inter Milan, City are playing Inter Milan. I think it's away, but I'm not 100% on that.
No, I still see City winning.
Okay, well, you two over. I said a draw, but I just can't see Newcastle losing to all three of us at home. I just think they'll be so fired up as well. I don't know what day that is, but it's obviously probably a Sunday. But anyway,
I hope you're right.
And then, yeah, no, indeed. And then Leeds at home. I don't need to wait. Yeah. Okay. Liverpool's next 6 games. United at home.
Win.
Brentford away.
Draw.
Ooh.
No, they'll win that.
Okay, I've gone win. Sorry, we're going another win. Villa at home.
I'd say I think they'll win that as well, yeah.
Yeah, I think they will. Now, their next game is City away, which we've already said would be a draw. But whether this makes an impact, they're playing Real Madrid 5 days before they travel to City.
Liverpool are?
Yes.
Oh, narrative.
Yeah, so yeah, he should be fit. That's the game they're earmarking for him to return.
I bet they are.
So we've already said a draw in for the other, and then Forest at home.
And
10-0.
Absolutely, mate.
It's who we are.
Yeah.
Right. So that's not good news. This isn't, boys.
No, I think we're going into one of those seasons where there needs to be some relentless winning, and both teams, all three.
Yeah,
teams
we've given them 15. We've given City 15 points, and Liverpool 15 points from their next 6 games. Do you want our next 6 games?
Yeah.
Here we go. This is now we'll see all the wins we threw out for these 2 teams. Let's see how generous we are for our own club. Fulham away.
Win.
Draw.
Win. No, I'm saying win. Chris saying win. So tough, Steph. We're winning it. Palace at home.
Win.
Draw.
Win.
Oh.
There you go, Steph. See, I knew it. Look at him. He's like, old Steph is back. Burnley away.
Win.
Win. Sunderland away.
Win.
Can I?
I hope it's a win.
Yeah. Can I just say how excited I am? I'm actually going to that game. Cheers, Dan.
Away end Holly.
Away end Holly.
We ride again.
Spurs at home.
Come on.
Dreading that game.
It's a win.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. Yeah, home win.
Win. Chelsea away.
That's been an iffy place for us to go. Draws in.
We haven't lost there for a while.
We haven't lost there.
No,
that's true. Draw.
I'm saying draw as well, so it's a draw.
I'm saying win. I'm going win. I'll probably change my mind when we do the preview. But...
Sorry, my maths is no good. I've given 16 points. All 3 of us. We've gone 16 points for all 3 of us. So we'll be exactly in 6 games' time. We'll be exactly where we are now. 1 point ahead of Liverpool. 3 points ahead of City.
I'd take it.
Oh no, I want a bigger lead.
Oh, I want a bigger lead.
I cannot believe that in 18 games there will be 15 wins and 3 draws for the teams we're looking at. That's no surprises at all. If I'd said to you Palace away for Liverpool, you wouldn't have said a defeat. If I'd said Chelsea away for Liverpool for you, you definitely wouldn't have said a defeat. You would have said a draw probably. I know I would have. If I said to you Man City, Spurs at home, I know Spurs have a good record there, but you wouldn't have said a defeat. Brighton away, I still wouldn't have said a defeat. So there will be shocks there. I just hope they're not for us.
Yeah.
Obviously. Okay. Well, cheers for that. I'm assuming we'll be back next week at some point looking ahead to Fulham away. Don't know what day that will be, but keep an ear and eye out for that. Thanks for the chat, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Everybody keep your fingers and toes crossed that all the Arsenal players return fit and healthy to Arsenal land from their respective countries, and all the City and Liverpool players don't. Bye.
Bye. The North Bank, an Arsenal podcast, Subscribe, rate and review on your app, and find us on your socials at North Bank Pod. Email hello@thenorthbankafc.com and check out our website, thenorthbankafc.com. Produced by the Podcast Company.